How do they do it? How does it work? For those who are wondering, um, I'm just gonna start talking. I know nobody's in the chat. I'm just gonna start talking. Um, I'm working on a video, on my next video, where I'm going to explain basically how this all works. How does it work? How does gangstalking work? Because if you're going through this, it's um, it's very confusing. I've mentioned before that. Hey, Casey. I've mentioned before that being gangstalked makes you feel like you're living like a parallel universe. It makes you feel like you woke up in a different world. It makes people think. I'm talking about gangstalking, which is narcissistic abuse, more like psychopathic abuse than just narcissistic. But yeah, I'm talking about gangstalking. And basically, on my next video, um, hey, how's it going? We don't move in fear. I also hope everyone is safe and doing okay. Basically, the next video I'm gonna work on. Well, the video I'm working on right now is about how does it work. Like I said, because when you're going through the experience of being gang stalked, it will make you feel like you're living in a parallel universe, like you're in a twilight zone. Because one can fathom that strangers would be persuaded into following them, abusing them, especially if you add money to the equation. And I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, Casey, I know. I know it's psychopathic, but like I said, it's this experience will make you feel like you're living in a twilight zone because one can fathom that strangers would be persuaded into believing that you are an evil person that deserves abuse or could possibly be persuaded to abuse you, though they don't know you, especially if they don't understand the extent of what you're going through. Um, it's easy to recruit them into what is essentially death by a thousand cuts because they don't see the thousand cuts. They only see the one little cut that they're making and they see it as, well, it's nothing. I'm just following him or I'm just following her. I'm not talking to her, I'm not harassing her. I'm just doing this small thing, following. I am the only thing that I'm doing is I am where they are. No big deal, right? Hey Deb, how's it going? Um, so one can fathom that a stranger could be persuaded into participating in this, especially if they're unaware of the extent of what you're going through, or one could possibly even be persuaded into participating into your abuse, even if they know what is going on, because this person doesn't know you, and whatever you know law enforcement officer has told them about you, they take as it must be true. So now that you've been established as a monster, um, a stranger would see you as, well, you have to pay. You have to pay for your crimes. You have to pay for your wrongdoings. You have to basically we're bringing justice to you. That's how they feel about it. But what is really hard for people to grasp is when your coworkers start joining in, people that you've worked with for years, when your friend groups start joining in, that's a doozy. It's like, whoa, wait, these are people that have been here for me. These are people I've been there for them. These are people that I have a history with. They know me. It is very strange that they would not only, because if it was just if it was just that they refuse to be your friend, they don't talk to you anymore, that's understandable. You'll be like, well, perhaps I said something that was offensive, perhaps the way I'm living is offensive to them and they don't want to talk to me. But they join into the abuse and then gaslight you about it. That is much harder to fathom than a stranger, someone who does not know you, who has been convinced that you are a person who is deserving of abuse. But the real kicker is when your family joins in. Wow. Wow, right? When your family joins in, that is quite the shock, because these are people that know you, people that saw you growing up, people that you saw growing up. And to see them not only participate in your abuse, but then gaslight you about it, pretend like they're not doing it. That's that's hard to understand. It's hard to fathom. It makes you feel like you have effectively woken up in the twilight zone, because what could this person who is a family member of mine have possibly heard about me or seen about me to make them not only change their opinions of me, but join in on my death by a thousand cuts torture. It is mind boggling. And I'm going to explain it because that's what I do. Unfortunately, um, I keep repeating this. I don't want to make these videos. I don't want to be on live. I mean, I love you guys, you know, Annette, Arcanum. Nice of you to be here. Deb, always great to have you here. Truth Rises. Truth Rises. I think you mentioned you just got out. I read that. I'm not sure what you meant by it, but hey, I'm glad you're out. Um, the haters were looking for any excuse to hate us. Well, um, to a certain extent, yes, yes. But the reason why it's so hard to fathom is that hmm, you you don't understand who you're dealing with. Now, if you were to speak with a one of the surviving members of the Black Panthers, they could tell you who you're dealing with. They could tell you all about their tactics. You know, they could really walk you down what's happening to you, what's gonna happen to you, and what tactics are being used. Now, I don't know any Black Panthers, but they've written some books, and I intend to read some. But when it comes to how it works is it's hard for us to fathom what's going on because we don't know who we're dealing with. But to put it simply, who you're dealing with is secret intelligence agencies. You're dealing with secret intelligence agencies. Not only, it's not just a matter of they've done this before, which they have. They've done this before plenty of times. It's a lot of us. It's so many of us out there. Pretty sure we're either in hundreds of thousands or in the million, if not millions, of targeted individuals. Perhaps not aware targeted individuals, but definitely, you know, we're up there. You know, I'm sorry, guys. I just have to, you know, ban a couple of people here real quick. Sorry, but yeah, you're dealing with people who not only have done this before, but they have a manual. They have like a handbook on how to do this, how to basically enter into someone's life and destroy it from the inside out through spying on them. You know, Martin Luther King used to say that his hotel rooms were bugged, his office was bugged. I mean, it's in his FBI file. His hotel rooms were bugged. Any hotel rooms that he would book would be bugged before he got there. His office was bugged. His home was bugged. They would listen to him 24/7 and would use any information that they could get in order to destroy his relationships with people. You know, they're just using these tactics on the common folk, if you will. Um, yeah, and Casey, I'm talking, brother. You know, if you want to leave, you can leave. I'll block you, honestly. You know, I don't know what is up with you, but there's a bunch of people in this room. It's very strange for you to behave this way, man. I mean, each one of us is going through the exact same thing. No one is behaving the way you're behaving. I just wanna, I just wanna point that out. You know, I don't know if you're trolling or what. I think you're a troll personally. I think you're a troll. I don't know if you're trolling or what, but if you aren't, my page is probably not for you. I, you know, I consider myself to be a, you know, reasonable person. You're being unreasonable, my friend. Anyways, the point I'm making here is that these people have, a manual on how to handle people and how to infiltrate their lives and basically destroy their lives, right? Um, and it's not just surveillance. All right, I'm just gonna ban Planet Pat and Casey. I've never seen these two before, and they're pretty annoying. So goodbye, guys. Um, so not only do they, you know, sorry about that, guys. I'm just not in the mood to deal with, and honestly, I'm pretty sure they were perps anyways. Like I said, not only have I never seen them before, but they're making like very weird comments about um, personal things. Goodbye. Anyways, um, the point I'm making is that it's not just surveillance. What they're basically trying to create in you is the straw that breaks the camel's back moment. They're actively trying to create these moments in your life constantly, right? So they'll poke and provoke you with little things that no one can see, such as directed conversation, having people talk about, things that you said or did the day before, um, you know, personal things in your life that you haven't told anyone, like, or, even like you had a conversation with your parent the day before and you said something, and they'll mention that in conversation with you or within your earshot, like quote you word for word, just in order to upset you, right? And this is basically what I would call, adding straws on the camel's back. And eventually these things pile on, especially in, perhaps not for us at this moment, at this point. I mean, maybe for some of us, but especially for people who are unaware about what they're going through. If you don't know you're being gang stalked, and you know you're going through these death by a thousand cuts tactics, these crazy making behaviors, which is just narcissistic abuse. Narcissistic abuse is all about making you go crazy, right? Getting you to react, right? And they're trying to get you to that point where you react, so that they can have a recording, some piece of evidence of you acting out of character. Now, of course, because the abuse tactics are hold plausible deniability, rather, no one sees why you're behaving this way. No one sees why you're acting out of character. All they see is your behavior and someone showing you, showing them rather, that behavior and convincing them that this is who you really are, right? You've been going through so much, and you had a moment where you raised your voice at someone, or you said something really horrible to someone out of anger, where usually you would be patient, but in this moment you decide to, to you make decisions based on your feelings, on your emotions, rather than rationally, which is something that happens to all of us, but not all of us are being recorded, and not all of us are being provoked into it. Yeah, there you go. And that, you know what I'm talking about. So, these moments where, we're human. You push, provoke, and goad a human for long enough, they're going to blow up. They're going to have an over the top reaction. And, you know, if if people are presented with basically a compilation of your worst moments, whether it be moments that were provoked, or just moments of your life that you're not proud of, and they have a law enforcement officer telling them, this person has been on our um, schedule and on our watch list for a long time. We're basically trying to, have them arrested, but we don't know how. We can't. We need your help, right? They go to a stranger, and that stranger is thinking, well, this person really looks like a danger to society. Perhaps I should help. Or this person is being offered money. Or this person is already in trouble with the law and is being offered an opportunity to not be in trouble with the law anymore, but they have to throw you under the bus. Or they go to your family and they tell them, this family member of yours is a dangerous person. Look what they did. Look what they said. Look what's going on with this person. Look what they said about you, right? I mean, everybody has family. For example, I mean, I'll just give like a simple example. I was talking about this to my wife a couple of minutes ago, But I was saying, like, for example, let's say you have a member of your family that is, gay, that is part of the LGBT community, and you are a person that is, what's the word I'm looking for? Homophobic, right? Um, and you say some homophobic things about, that family member or just about the LGBT community in general. And then that comment is brought back to your family member who is homosexual. Now, this family member thinks you hate them, not understanding that this may be your opinion, and I'm not saying I'm a homophobe. I'm not, by the way. I'm just using this as an example. I wanted to make that clear. But I'm just you know, I'm just painting the picture, right? This family member is now hearing you say these horrible things about you. Steve the Pigeon, I'm about to answer your question real quick. Steve the Pigeon asked, why would family not approach and say, I've been told these things. Is it true? I'm going to answer that question in a second. Thank you for asking, by the way. Um, but this family member in question hears these horrible things you said about their community or their, preference. And now they're horrified. They think you hate them and they're angry, they're hurt, right? And then this law enforcement officer also tells them, look, this person has been committing crimes, you know, because they're not above lying. They're not above lying to people, right? They say this person has been committing crimes, horrible crimes, you know, um, where we've been investigating this person for a long time. This person is going down, whether you like it or not, this person is going down. You can either help us or you have to sign this NDA and be quiet. I hope that answers your question, my friend Steve. They make people sign NDAs. They can't talk to you, and they understand how much trouble you're in, and they don't want to be in that trouble, you know. And they have no incentive to tell you anything. You just They just heard you say something really hurtful about them behind their backs. They feel betrayed by you already. So betraying you is like the natural process of what happens next. Because the reason why they don't come to you is because they don't feel like they're betraying you when they don't come to you. They feel like you already betrayed them. They feel like whatever they're doing is justified. Which doesn't it make sense? Stay with me here. Doesn't it make sense? Your family members are participating in your gang stalking. They're participating in your psychological torture, in sabotaging your life. They feel no way about it. They're lying to your face about it. They're gaslighting you. What does that tell you? I mean, you know your family members. You know not all of them are evil people. Hopefully, I would hope so. You know, doesn't that tell you that they feel justified? This is how it happens. They get these people, these family members of yours, these friends of yours, all of these people, they get them to basically feel like you have betrayed them. Therefore, whatever happens to you, you deserved it. Because whatever you're thinking about them, they're thinking about you. They're thinking, I've never done anything to you. Why would you betray me like that? Why would you say these things about me? Why would you, hurt me like that? Right? But it's very easy to understand it if you think about how you feel about these people and you realize they feel the same way about you. They feel betrayed by you because the law enforcement officer who came to them and gave them the story that made them make the decision to betray you made them feel that way. And it really makes sense when I think about, you know, meeting my uncle who lives in the USA, at my grandfather, his father's funeral. And he shook my hand and he looked at me with a look of pure deception. And he just said, "I've known you since you were a kid." And I just looked at him. I didn't understand what he meant by it. I was just like, "Yeah, obviously, you're my uncle. What do you mean by that?" And then more of his actions and, my other family members' actions made me realize, oh, they're in on it. He's in on it. That's why he said that. That's why he said I've and I realized that he was in on it when I asked him, when we met at your father's funeral, my grandfather, I shook your hand. You said, "I've known you since you were a kid." Uncle, why did you say that? What did you mean by that? I don't understand. And he looked me dead. I mean, he just, with no hesitation, told me, "I don't remember saying that. I have no reason to say something like that." You think I'm making it up? You think I imagined it? So, and this is, another thing when you're talking to people who can't agree on what reality is. I'm not talking about opinions, like if we're talking about, you know, the Raptors are the best basketball team, or, you know, um, the greatest player is LeBron or MJ. Who cares, right? These are opinions. I'm talking about the reality, facts, things that happened or didn't happen, black on white, you know. Uh, if we can't agree on what reality is, if you're trying to convince me that my reality is not reality, you know, at this point, we really have nothing to talk about. And I don't care if you're gang stalking me or not. If we can't agree on reality, what are we talking about? You know? I mean, essentially it's like trying to play basketball with someone who's constantly, you know, double dribbling, and you call it and he says, "No, I didn't." And you're just like, "Yeah, you did. You keep doing it." And he goes, "No, I didn't." What do you do at that point? You grab you take your basketball and you go home. You stop playing with him. You go, "You're an idiot." You forget it. But it's the same thing with people who invalidate not your reality, but reality itself. I'm asking my uncle, "Hey man, you said this to me. What did you mean by it?" "I remember you said it to me. It marked me. I didn't understand what you meant. I know now." And the reason why I'm asking you is because I know. And I was expecting you to lie, you know, to make something up. I had imagined all kind of scenarios. What I had not imagined is that you would say, "I didn't say that." That, anyways. But yeah, for those of us who are wondering, how is this possible? I mean, I get it. My neighbors, my coworkers, we didn't grow up together. The expression in the African expression is, we didn't raise pigs together. You know, we barely know each other. For you to believe a story that someone has spun in order to demonize me, it makes sense, especially coming from who it's coming from. Law enforcement, are you kidding me? Why would you believe me over them? Right? But when it comes to your friends, close friends, your family members, your siblings, your parent, your children, and it's a different story here. It will really make you feel like you've woken up in the twilight zone. So I just wanted to take a quick second to explain how it's done for the people who feel like they're going crazy. I know that feeling, I've been there before, you know. I no longer have that feeling just because of how much I talk about this and I explain it over and over. So it's no longer confusing now. It's surprising. It's not surprising as far as what it is. What surprises me is there are people who do this. But, in order to fool people like that, all you need is the will to do it. Because the handbook on psychological warfare has been written thousands, decades ago. They have handbooks. Okay, what's the next step? Oh, we have this information. How can we use it? They don't even have to think about how to operate this, you know, covert downfall. They just run the program. And nowadays with AI, they don't even have to sift through footage, recordings of you. They have a nice little AI machine that tells them what may be useful. So I hope this helps clear up the situation for those of us who are wondering, how is this possible? And that's how. I was viewing a video of Kevin Shipp. He's very helpful. I don't know who Kevin Shipp is. World is crazy, isn't it? Isn't it just? Thank you so much. This is really insightful and helping me a lot. I'm very grateful to be here. Well, thank you, Arcanum. I I make these videos for people like you, but especially the reason why I make these. Oh, my watch's batteries are out. Sorry, that makes me a little sad. I make these videos mostly for people who don't understand what they're going through, for people who don't even know that they're being gang stalked, and for people who know that they're being gang stalked. It's just like it's such a complicated phenomenon, especially if you don't understand narcissistic abuse. Because if you understand narcissistic abuse, gang stalking is not a complicated thing to understand. But narcissistic abuse is very complicated to understand in itself. But once you understand it, then it's really easy to think, oh, this is just narcissistic abuse in group, orchestrated, organized. And it's not too hard to accept it for what it is. Yeah, AI is misused. It is not AI problem. I wouldn't say that it's AI's problem. Kevin Shipp, ex CIA whistleblower. You know who my favorite CIA whistleblower is? John Kiriakou. Very entertaining guy. Very entertaining. He actually went to prison for whistleblowing on torture, actual torture though, physical torture. Um, I admire that. I respect John Kiriakou. Yeah, I think he's well, Kiriakou. There's no need to think, eh? He's Greek. But very entertaining guy, and he has like really some really cash money clips, like short videos out there. People are like making like compilations of short videos of him. He tells some wild stories. Um, and he said, if I had to do it again, I would. I would go to prison again. I did the right thing. I admire him a lot. And one thing that he said that really marked me is anytime that he was asked to do something that he felt went against his morals or should go against the morals of the CIA, they kept repeating to him, "Don't worry about it. Don't think about it too much. We're the good guys. We're the good guys." Any group operation action that needs to use sentences like, we're the good guys. You're probably not. The good guy doesn't have to say that they're a good guy. They don't have to remind them, they don't have to remind people that they're good. Actions speak louder than words. We recognize you by the fruits, by your fruits, by what you know, bring to this world. There were no drug dealers in LA, in South Central, that had access to planes or boats to bring in cocaine. It was y'all niggas. It was y'all CIA niggas. You brought the cocaine here. You know? What else about the CIA? MK Ultra? That was your operation. And the only reason why MK Ultra is a, you know, knowledge about MK Ultra is spread worldwide is because they broke in to the federal buildings and stole the documents. People broke in to the federal buildings and stole the documents and then spread it out to you know news organizations and things of that nature, you know and it became a story that it was just like, wow, these people are really evil. They've been torturing mental patients, prisoners, um, patients at hospitals, regular ass people as well. you know that's how people even know about this. So this whole idea of we're the good guys. Whoever needs to say we're the good guys, don't worry, we're the good guys. I mean, you might as well say, trust me, bro. you know? What do you mean? Cocaine import agency. Yeah, you got that right. And not only that, but look at the fruits of people, you know? It's pretty simple to see when you look at even the Epstein files. Um, they've been sitting on this all of this information for years, and the only person that is willing to speak up about what's going on is Thomas Massey. That doesn't seem right. If you're I read this somewhere. If you're gonna sit on information like that, and then when it's time to reveal it, you redact the names of the perpetrators and unredact the names of the victims, what do we need you for? What is your purpose? Who are you really? Are you really the secret police? Because you're moving like a criminal organizations, my guys. And if you're criminals, say that. But why are we paying? Because these are federal police. I mean, don't get me wrong, whether state or federal, our taxes pay them, right? But what do you mean I'm paying federal taxes so that you can protect monsters and then dox their victims? Y'all niggas gotta go. I mean, y'all niggas must be abolished. Pick a different career. What do you mean? So we're the good guys, right? We're the good guys. Don't worry about it. We're the good guys. Trust me, bro. Uh, Sorry about that. I went on a tangent here. Um, Many die living in a fantasy world. Is weird. Yeah. I think my PCP involved told me not to call a special. What's PCP? The only PCP I know is drugs. I don't know what's a PCP. Wait for them to call me, then after they told me to call them. That's allowing the gangstalking to make contact, just add people. This has happened to me too, and they just deny it altogether. Yeah, gaslighting. It's just basic gaslighting. What does dox mean? Dox is a term where basically your private information is revealed online. Primary care physician. Sorry about that, Annette. Yeah, dox means your personal information is revealed online. Now, these victims in the Epstein files were mostly children when they were victimized, and when the Epstein files were released, or when they demanded that the Epstein files be released to the public, they gave them the names of the victims that were in there and told them, do not release these names, redact them. The FBI did the opposite. They unredacted the names of the victims, and then they redacted the names of the perpetrators. I mean, I don't want to, speak on in detail about what's in there, but there are some really horrible crimes against boys, girls, and women in there. They were talking about hunting. Well, they weren't talking about hunting. They were talking about um they were talking Epstein was talking about the day before he was hunting humans, and he was basically explaining, you know, it was very like humorous to him. It's like, oh, they were black. LOL. He was talking to someone. That person's name is redacted, but the victims' names were unredacted. We can see that. We can't see who Epstein was talking about when he was talking about hunting humans. Who are you, FBI? What do you stand for? What is your purpose? Who do you work for? Now, of course, if you don't know, if you don't have an understanding of who the FBI really is yet, because you're not watching the news, you're not looking at the Epstein files, or you're just not informed on all of the horrible things that they've done before in the past, and they get in contact with you and tell you that there is a horrible person in your neighborhood and they need help with, you know, getting this person in enough trouble to arrest, then yeah, you're like, oh, of course, the FBI, federal police, federal secret police, hell yeah, I'm in. And they're very good at making you feel like, oh, you're part of the group now, you're one of us, you know. They made the CIA, that is, they made drug dealers feel like they were one of them, because like, I'm buying my drugs from a CIA agent, I'm protected. Every last one of these drug dealers went to prison for life. Every last one of them. The ones that were still alive. These are the people, I'm talking to gang stalkers now. These are the people you're trusting. These are the people you're allowing to dictate who your enemies are. These are the people you're allowing to fool you into turning your backs on your family members, on your friends, on your coworkers. Not only turning your backs on them, but abusing them, participating in a federal crime. You don't think that it's strange that a federal officer is asking you to commit federal crimes? God protects fools and babies, but not evil people. Y'all evil. I went to jail recently. V2K was off the chain. I met so many TIs. Truth Rises. Do you get V2K as well? Also, you did get out recently. Okay, so I wasn't wrong. I saw that. Well, I'm glad you're out of jail. Okay, so you do get V2K. Now, did you speak to other people who also get V2K while in jail? You know, it's in the Epstein files, Jeffrey Epstein actually mentions that it is actually mentioned that V2K was being used on him while he was in prison. And Julian Assange, who was, I believe Julian Assange was associated with WikiLeaks. Yeah, he founded WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks is basically where a website where all, whistleblowing. It's just whistleblowing. WikiLeaks. It's like Wikipedia, but all whistleblowed information would end up on WikiLeaks, you know, and everybody would read it. Everybody who would read it would be like, "This is out there. That this can't be true. The elite eat babies. All right, relax." You know, come to find out. But yeah, he went. He was prosecuted, went to prison, and in prison he said that V2K was being used on him. That the V2K would tell him the same things that, Andrew McCready was saying that he was hearing. We're gonna come get you. It's over for you. We're gonna come in here tonight, and it's all over. And obviously, if you're hearing that in your head, I mean, I've never experienced V2K. I can only imagine how horrible that is, especially if it's 24/7. But one can imagine that if you're hearing threats in your head, that's unsettling, especially if you're in prison. That has to be unsettling. But Julian Assange mentions it. He says, yes, they used V2K on me. They used directed energy weapons as well on me while I was in prison. I mean, it's just like MK Ultra. That this is who they, experiment on. They experiment on mental patients, prisoners. Truly evil stuff. Really evil. Anyways, I just wanted to bring some I just wanted to share with you guys what I would be talking about in my next video before I make my next video, because I wanted to bounce off the information on you and see if you had anything that you would like me to add to my next video, which will be titled, How Do They Do It? Because if you don't understand how it works, you will ask yourself for a very long time, how do they do it? How is this possible? How is my cousin, who I grew up with, now a part of the group that is trying to sabotage, that is not trying to, that is sabotaging my life? How is it possible that my cousin, my uncle, my aunt, my parent, my child, my sibling, someone I share DNA with, has joined this constantly growing army of people that are working on my downfall? How is it possible? And the answer is, well, they know how to do it. They spy on you constantly. They create the straw that broke the camel's back moment by constantly irritating you, and they study you. They know what gets to you, right? And it's especially effective when you don't know you're being gang stalked, when you don't understand what's going on. So they pile on and pile on and pile on and pile on, and eventually you break, and you know, there's no one to point to, as to like take out your anger and frustration. So you do something stupid and you take it out on your child, or you take it out on your spouse, or you take it out on your sibling, you know, your parent. And now they have a recording of that because they're spying on you. And they're showing people, look at how awful this person is. Um, I'm just responding to Annette. Annette asks, do you think so you think family members receive a different narrative, or is it always presented as you committing a crime? Personally, when it comes to my family members, there's not a lot of crimes that you could accuse me of that would make them switch on me. Unless, it was some kind of Epstein stuff. That could make them switch on me, probably, more than likely. But then again, there are some members of my family who were accused of some of these crimes, and people haven't turned on them. Family's family. I believe that it's different when it comes to family. I believe that when it comes to family, it's mostly they invent things you said about them, things that have, because remember, they're not just spying on you, they're spying on everyone around you. And like I said, if you have a cousin that's gay and you say something homophobic, even if it was like a joke, or let's say you are homophobic, because some people are homophobic, or let's say you're racist and you have a cousin who's half white and you're black, or vice versa, you're white and you have a cousin who's half black, and you say something racist about his race or half his or her race, and then they hear it, and now they think you hate them. And of course you don't, they're your family, but you are racist, you know, which is not a crime. I'm not racist, by the way. I'm just using this as an example. I'm not racist. I'm not homophobic either. I'm just using examples here. Um, but I'm just saying, if you said these things, you made these horrible statements about them. I'll give you an example. Say you have a cousin who's not just gay, but he's also effeminate, which happens. Some men are more effeminate, some women are more masculine. It happens, right? But you have a cousin who's effeminate, and then you start to mock him, right? We do that in between boys. We'll make jokes about, people. Locker room talk, as Trump would put it, right? I mean, personally, you're making fun of someone. Like, Trump was talking about assault, essay. I don't know if that's locker room talk, but anyways, the point I'm making is you might mock your cousin and, act like a woman and speak like a woman, and you're mocking him. And then he sees that and he's devastated. He's like, why? I can't believe you would say these things about me. I thought we were cool. And they're hurt because they've been hearing this stuff all their life. People have been making fun of them about this all their life. Or you have a cousin who's anorexic or bulimic, and you make comments, hurtful comments, while your cousin is not there, about their weight. Or you have a cousin who's overweight, and you make hurtful comments about their weight to somebody else. But now that's being reported, along with you also being a criminal. And an investigation is open on you. And if your cousin doesn't help you, then he might get into trouble because your cousin might be, in with the law with his own trouble. Or maybe he's not. Maybe they just say, don't say anything, sign this NDA. You don't have a choice. You decided to talk to us, so now you have to sign the NDA. Or really, they make you sign the NDA before they talk to you. That's how it works. Sorry. Um, but you sign the NDA, you can't tell them anything. But now maybe your cousin is not participating in, I'm just giving you an example. Maybe your cousin is not participating in your gang stalking, but your cousin is hurt about the things you said about him. And they told your cousin what to say to you, and your cousin refused. But then your cousin sees you, and you're all smiles and happy to see him. And instead of being happy to see you, they see you, what a hypocrite you are. For you to say these things about me, and you smile in my face, and now they decide, you know what? I am gonna say what they told me to say. Cause screw you, man. You said these hurtful things about me. I'm a human. I have feelings. And then they say these things to you, these directed conversations. And you feel hurt. You feel betrayed. Not as much as him. He heard your homophobic comments. And when you bring it up, when you tell him, hey, man, are you participating in my gang stalking? He feels no way about gaslighting you, about being a hypocrite to you, because you're a hypocrite to him. In his mind, you started this. This is your fault. You brought this upon yourself. You feel me? This is how it works. Does this make more sense to you guys? I feel like when it comes to describing gang stalking or narcissistic abuse, it's very cyclical, you know? It's like the egg, the egg and the chicken. It's like you have to keep explaining why this happened, but why this happened, the reason why this happened is the reason why this happened, and then it just goes into cycles, and I feel like I never explain it enough. But if you were to ask my wife, she would be like, "No, you're good, my nigga. You got it." Um, I understand, but people have been talking about me and judging me my entire life. It never occurred to me to get a gang of people to address it. Well, your family member is not getting a gang to address it. Your family member is not doing that. Your family member is just participating, doing his part. The Your neighbors might be, if they were told you were a dangerous criminal, they might be contacting the neighborhood. Your co-workers might be. You're a danger to society in their minds. And of course, your handler is doing that. Your handler is orchestrating everybody to make it seem like everyone is in contact with each other. Meanwhile, a lot of these people have no idea the extent of what you're going through. They just know their part, for the most part. Of course, there are some people who know everything, and they're just like, oh, I'm happy this is happening to you. I'm happy to participate in this. And I get paid? Are you kidding me? I've always hated you, you know? But yeah, I mean, I know in my situation, a lot of the people who participate in my gang stalking is basically people that heard me say some things that were hurtful about them, and they feel betrayed because they're like, "Why would you say that about me behind my back?" And I'm like, "You heard it because I'm being spied on." I mean, I know it sounds like a cop out, but that shit doesn't count, my friend. It really doesn't. It literally fucking doesn't. If you heard what I said about you, if you heard the hurtful things I said about you behind your back because a secret intelligence agency was spying on me and reported it to you, that shit doesn't count. Sorry. The fuck? You know, everybody gossips, but it feels different when it happens to you. It feels different when someone brings information that someone said about you that is hurtful to you. It feels personal, though it isn't, because everybody gossips. And sometimes these people who are mad at you, they've said things about you before that if you heard what they said about you, you'd be mad as well. But they don't think about that. Right now, they're thinking about the awful things you said about them. I had someone report, a friend of mine report something that someone, not a friend, but like someone I did business with said about me, and I unfriended that person. But I had said some hurtful things about that person behind their backs before. I didn't take that shit into consideration when I unfriended them. I just said, "Word, that's how you feel about me? Unfriend." That's all that happened. I mean, I didn't gang stalk them, obviously, because I'm not a piece of shit. But, you know, I didn't think of the things I said about this person, and they were not nice things that I said about this person, you know? Much worse than what they said about me. It is what it is, isn't it? Huh. Friends are the worst thing you can really have in this life. Just stick with family, but more importantly, yourself and the Lord. I'm sticking to myself and the Lord, and when it comes to family, I'm not interested in, you know, all of my family members. For the most part, I have, a couple of cousins that I really like, and my wife, and I'm happy that way. May we be together forever. Never believe what the devil and his minions say. He's incapable of telling truth. Whatever he says, it is always the opposite. That's a fact. That is true. Um, it's a bit deeper than just not believing what the devil says, because when the devil can't get to you with evil, the devil will get to you with good. What do I mean by that? If I can't get you to give in to your baser instincts, to hate someone and to hurt someone else out of jealousy, envy, anger, wrath, lust, then I'm going to present it as, well, this is a good action that we're doing because this person is a bad person. We really should get this person in trouble and, have this person arrested because this person is a bad person. And now you think you're doing something good. What you're doing is bad, but it's in the name of good. And, you know, because you're, uninformed about the Bible, because you're uninformed about the fact that the road to heaven is paved with good intentions, you're now fooled into doing something evil with an end goal that is good, not understanding that it doesn't matter what your end goal is if your actions are evil. If your actions are evil, you're evil. Just because someone tells you, well, don't worry about it too much. We're the good guys. Trust me, bro. Trust me, bro. We're the good guys. All right. The cops are also involved in the targeting. 100%. They're the ones that are organizing it. And when I say the cops, I'm talking about federal or state cops. They're the ones doing it. Now, obviously, there are some, you know, criminals organizing this stuff, but the FBI are cops. The CIA are cops. They're just federal cops. And they're behind this shit. Annette says, I think a shift is coming. I agree. I think a shift is coming as well. I used to not believe that. I uh I had watched a video of a guy. Uh I can't remember the channel name on YouTube, but it has gang stalking in the name of the channel. And it was from 12 years ago, and he was talking about how his godfather was gang stalked to the point where he was in a mental hospital. And I was just thinking to myself, this is from 12 years ago, you know? His godfather was an old man at the time, probably gone by now, rest his soul. He never got justice. And he said it, you know. He said they won. The gang stalkers won. He ended up in a mental hospital. I couldn't even get in contact with him anymore. They wouldn't allow it. Said the gang stalkers won. So when I had seen that, I had kind of lost hope. I was like, what was that? This is 12 years ago? But I don't think that way anymore. I do feel like a shift is coming. And if it is incoming, it doesn't matter. Until my last breath, I will name the devil to shame the devil. To me, that's self-care. That's what I consider self-care. I sit down and I write about gang stalking. I write what I want to talk about in my next video. Because sometimes self-care is telling demons to coma mierda. I don't mess with most of my family either. You aren't alone. Yeah. We're family now, Jared. You my cousin. Jared, you my cousin. Because in a minute, I'm about to ask you $20. You could use that. Uh, never believe what the. Let's see. What does this word mean? I think we have a gang stalker in. Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know who that person is. Is it gossiping if what you're saying about the person is the truth and their actions involve yourself and you're asking for advice venting? No. If you're asking for advice, it's not gossiping. If you're venting, it is. Like for example, I had a cousin who, you know what? I'm gonna tell this story. Screw it. This is gossiping, by the way. But I had a cousin who owed me $200. I had lent him $200, and then his wedding came up, and he came to ask me. And in my culture, we pay to go to weddings. We don't do wedding gifts. You pay, right? And his wedding was $200, and he came to me and he said, "Hey man, can I get the $200 from you to for my wedding?" And I said, "Cuz you owe me $200." And he just looked at me. He was like, I was at his house actually. I was chilling with his brother, his little brother, because his little brother is my age. He's a little older than I am. And he's like, "It's my wedding." And I was like, "It's my $200. You owe it to me. You've owed me $200 for a while now. I never asked it back. I'm not gonna give you 200 more to go to your wedding when you owe me $200." And he felt like I was wrong. I didn't feel like I was wrong. Most of the people that I went to and asked them, "Am I wrong for this?" By the way, that cousin is now in on my gang stalking. That's funny to me. I'm sorry. But when I went to, some of his brothers, some of his half brothers, some of my other cousins to ask them, was I wrong? Am I wrong to like not give him $200 for his wedding when he owes me $200? It's like, all right, you know, I lent you $200 a while ago, never asked it back. But I mean, I do want it back. You can't ask me 200 more dollars to go to your wedding when you owe me $200. Just use the money I gave you. Or, let me in for free. I mean, if anything, you know, I feel like I lent you $200. That's People don't do that like that. And he was mad. He was mad for a little while. Not too long, but he was mad at the time. And when I was talking about it to other people, that was gossiping. Now, he's not mad at me for that. He's mad at me for a different reason. And I'm not going to say that he's not wrong to be mad at me because I did gossip about him, about something else. Something that wasn't as bad, actually. Hmm, interesting. But I did gossip about him. And I don't think he's wrong to be mad. I think he's overreacting, but he's not wrong to be mad. But at the same time, I also don't know what he was told. I don't know exactly what he was told. I know how this works, though. But yes, to answer your question, venting is gossiping. I mean, you always got to think, you know, yeah, it's gossiping, but you know, I think venting is a human behavior. You know, you just don't want to necessarily make it malicious when you're venting. Like if you want to just say what's happening to you, then you say what's happening to you, and to be honest, if you do want to make it malicious, maybe you're entitled to. Maybe someone did you wrong, and you're entitled to speak on it in a malicious way because you're mad. We're human, you know? It doesn't matter. This is not a reason, you know. I'm not confused about who's in the wrong. I was wrong to gossip, but he's wrong to gangstalk me. He's wronger to gangstalk me, and I'm not willing to discuss or argue that point. I'm right. Eat it, you know? Sorry. Sorry about the tangent. My battery's about to go out. All right. I guess we do have a gang stalker in here. Get out. Um, you were in the right. What a shocker. You are the bigger man to own up to your mistakes. I believe rules can be bent under circumstances. Gang stalking is way worse. I mean, I believe myself to be a logical, reasonable man. I try to be at least. Um, I I think it's important to hold ourselves accountable to the mistakes we made, to the actions the wrongdoings we do, and become better people. And I'm not above messing up. I'm not above messing up royally. Like I'm human, and some of the things I've some of the mess ups I've done in my life involve the straw that broke the camel's back tactics that gang stalking, you know, the gang stalking operation, right? It's just like I had so much stress from everything that was going on with me that I ended up doing some things that are completely out of character that, I deeply regret. And I've learned to forgive myself for them, you know, especially once I realized that, they were trying to basically shame me into oblivion about it. I was just like, I'm human. Yes, I messed up. Yes, I did some things that really I feel are horrible and I shouldn't have done them. But I'm able to recognize that I shouldn't have done that and, you know, not do it anymore. What what I would never do is gang stalk someone. Are you out of your mind? Participate in death by a thousand cuts. Take pleasure in causing other people pain. You know, I would never do that ever. But you do, and you're trying to judge me? Como mierda. I'm kind of mad at my brother. My father is being stalked as well. My brother is just ignoring it. He just doesn't have the emotional informancy. Just something I have to accept. Yeah, I mean, I have some members of my family that are a bit. They have emotional arrested development, and it's hard to talk to them about some of the things I'm going through, so I don't. Solves everything. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam. Gracie, I'm glad you're here. At least stay away from alcohol and drugs. Stay sober and level headed. 100%. I never drink. I never smoke. I drink alcohol on Christmas and New Year's Eve. That's pretty much it. And this New Year's Eve, I didn't even drink. So, no, this Christmas, I didn't even drink. I drank on New Year's Eve. So, yeah, um, when you're going through gang stalking, you can't afford. You can't. It's very tempting to try to numb the pain with smoking and drinking, but you can't afford to not be on your square at all times. You just can't. It's a luxury you can't afford anymore. That's that's just the truth. I'm sorry if you're not ready to hear it. Um, I understand your struggle. I see your struggle. Your struggle is valid. What you're going through is, something that is hard and that most people would not be able to handle. And I think that, if you're handling it well, then you should pat yourself on the back for it and really recognize how great you are for it. But also, if you have these vices, then your job is not done. Your work is not done. And, you know, we slip, we fall, we get back up, we keep moving. We are humans. We forgive ourselves for our shortcomings and we keep moving forward. Namaste. Do you tell the people that are gang stalking you that you know, whether in my family, should targets do that? What are the benefits, risks of sharing that you know? Huh, that's a good question. Now, have I told them? Yes, I have told them that I know. And of course they deny it. They gaslight me, but I have told them. And I don't think it serves a purpose to tell them. Um, because the truth is they're just gonna gaslight you. They're not gonna tell you. And maybe they will. Who knows? Who knows, right? Like this is not like a, every situation is the same kind of situation. Maybe you have a cousin who's just like, a little mad and they participate in this bullshit and once you talk to them maybe they'll just be like, I mean they probably won't tell you like, yeah, I am gang stalking you. Hopefully the agent that is spying on you that gave me information on you is not listening to this and will not retaliate. you know like, I'm gonna throw myself under the bus to inform you. Hopefully that helps a lot. It freaking won't, but um you know I guess it's worth it just to have closure. For me, it was worth it just to have closure, but I do want you to know that once I informed these people that I knew and they gaslit me, I stopped talking to them. I blocked them on everything. I will never speak to them again. I mean, even if we're in the same room, like at a family reunion, I would never address them again. Them, their children, their spouses, I would never, you know, if they were to come and try to talk to me, I would look at them as if they had like shit on their face. Like something like that. Emotional intelligence. Self forgiveness is the best thing you can do. 100%. Great to hear you aren't playing the devil's game. Yeah, they want you to. They want you to hate yourself. They want you to drown in your shame. They want you to join their team against yourself. You can't do that. That's the devil's game. Jared, you're a smart man. I like smart people. Thanks for being here. I mean it. On your square at all times. 100% Tarai. You have to be on your square at all times. This is war. Make no mistakes. This is war. You can't afford to be effing around. Think about it. Everything humans have ever built points to one desire to stay alive. That's right. Even the food we grow. So why do we really think about death? Why aren't we truly trying to solve it? Isn't that the ultimate point? To solve what exactly? To solve gangstalking or to solve death? If we were real, we would have reached eternity by now. Oh, you think we're not real? Instead, death collects us all. Every laugh, every tear, every name, and leaves no trace, a lifetime of experience erased. Not quite, but yeah, I guess. As if we dreamed ourselves and woke to nothing. Engine aware, you're poetic, aren't you? I like that. Spiritual warfare, that's true. The jinn cannot harm a hair on our head, so they try to break us down mentally and get us to harm ourselves or even others. Yeah, yeah, that's the name of the game. You know, no touch torture. You know, it's really funny. A lot of these torture tactics. Monitoring spirits. All of that is in the Bible, which really leads you to believe that this has been going on for decades, for millennia, long before Christ. Gang stalking existed long before. You know, I'm sure if we were to look at the history of Julius Caesar, we'd find gang stalking. Satan is the first gang stalker. 100%. 100%. Since the fall of Adam and Eve. 100%. You got that right. Absolutely. War suggests an even playing field where we can fight back feels more like I'm being hunted with a blindfold on and my hands tied behind my back. You paint a picture, don't you, Steve? Well, uh, to a certain extent, I think you're right. But also, if you look at, yeah, no, I think you're just right. Honestly, you're right. Because I was gonna say it's guerrilla warfare, but it is true. War suggests an even playing field where we can fight back. But guerrilla warfare is just like little small wars, and you don't know who your enemy is. You don't know when the next attack is coming, and they attack and run away, and you can never get whoever it was, and it's never the same person that attacks you. It's just like guerrilla warfare is what is the reason why America lost in Vietnam. They never knew who their enemy was, where it was coming from. It was always new people, because they orchestrated um, each other so well that it was just hard to defeat the enemy because who's the enemy? Today, you know, this man is your server at a restaurant. Tomorrow he's throwing grenades at your car. Guerrilla warfare. And you'll never see him again. He's gone. So it is what it is. You are right though. I'm just gonna charge my phone because my batteries are running out. Hold on. There we go. We solve death by eternal life at the right hand side of God in heaven by the blood of the second covenant. We are eternal spiritual beings having a physical experience. I agree. The realest things in this world are the things that you cannot see but feel. These are the things that cannot be destroyed. Can you feel how it seems to be speeding up? What is speeding up? What is speeding up, Gracie? What are we talking about? The end times? Faith over fear. How's it going? I'm all right. I'm all right. I just vented a little bit. You missed it, but hopefully you'll be able to uh watch this live back. I was talking about my next video, what I'm gonna title it, what it's gonna be. Um, How do they do it? For the people who ask themselves, how do they do it? How can they get my family to turn on me? How did they do that? How did that work? I basically explained. Do you believe we are in end times? No, no. I mean, we probably are, honestly, but I don't think so. Only because it would be very presumptuous of me to believe that the end times are in my time. Then again, the new millennia came while I was alive as well. Who knows? The internet came out while I was alive. Most of the world's, you know, technological advances happened in my time. But then again, the people who were there when fire was invented or the wheel was invented also felt like my time is special. I just cannot have I cannot hold this idea that somehow I'm different than others. I'm special. The end times coming in my time. My grandmother used to always say, it's the end times. My grandmother's gone, by the way. May her soul rest in peace. But I have to be honest. When you ask me a question, I have to answer it honestly, if I answer it. And I don't think it's the end times. I don't think so. But it probably is. Because it sure feels that way, doesn't it? I pray that everyone in a difficult place will endure and overcome. Amen. Amen. The darkness. Can you feel it speaking up? The darkness. Yes, I do feel that it's speeding up. So it feels like the end of times. I just don't think it is because it's presumptuous, and that's not who I am. Um, it's the whispers of Shaitan. Tell that boy, shut up. How did they get the family to do that? Shocking to me too. Yeah, this is one of the this is usually where people like start to really get a feeling of, am I in the twilight zone? How did they get my family to join in on this? How is that, like, my friends, my neighbors, my coworkers? Okay, all right. We didn't grow up together. I can understand how they would get them to join. Like, it's unlikely, but it is possible. My family members are in on it. That's an impossibility. That's not just improbable. In my mind, it is impossible. You couldn't get my family to turn on me because you couldn't get me to turn on my family. I have some family members who have done heinous things. I have never turned my back on them. I have some family members who've been accused of heinous things. I've never turned my back on them because they're my family. Now, if other people were to hate them, I would understand. But I don't hate them, they're my family. Some of these people who have done heinous things and who have been accused of heinous things are actually participating in my gangstalking. So it's it's a doozy. It's hard to believe, it's hard to understand, it's hard to grasp. If people turn on you, they were never your family. Yeah, true. There's only one person in my family that turned on me that it doesn't shock me. And it's the closest family member that I have who's involved in this gang stalking ordeal, because I've always known that this person was a very poor character, narcissistic, psychopathic even. I've always known. I mean, I've spent almost every single day of my life, you know, interacting with this person or watching this person. I've always known this person was highly narcissistic. to the point of almost being psychopathic. So when they joined into the gang stalking, I was like, that's not shocking. That's not shocking. But some of my cousins who joined in, I'm just like, one of my cousins, the gossip that I participated in was really awful, and I can understand why they would, turn their backs on me and participate in my gang stalking. So I just leave it alone. I'm just like, well, I kind of earned that shit. Um, Not that I think I deserved it. I don't think I actually deserve that. No one deserves this, right? But I can understand why they would be mad to the point of, letting themselves be fooled into doing some shit like this. Because what I said about that person is really awful. Um, but some other family members of mine, I'm just like, I didn't do anything to you. What? We could have had a conversation. But I truly look at betrayal as a blessing, and I look at everything that I go through as a blessing as well, because hardships maketh man. I feel sorry for women who go through this because, I feel like women go through enough already, and women shouldn't have to go through struggles like this. Men should protect women, and men are hurting women. People, people, gang stalkers. And I just feel like that's not right. You know, men who go through hardships become stronger. Especially if we have, a woman in our life that keep us, that provide for us what we cannot provide for ourselves, which is softness. Um, but women shouldn't have to go through hardships like gang stalking. That's insanity. To me, that's like sending women to war, like drafting women in the war. It's just like no one does that. No country does that. No country has ever done that. If they want to join the war, sure, go right ahead. But no country drafts women to war. That has never happened, because we sort of understand that a woman's life should not be hardships. Women are to be protected. I'm mind blown. Blood doesn't make you family. Consistency does. That's right. I know for me, it's like I woke up in the twilight zone. It's all happening so fast. The madness in humanity. Yeah, that's basically what I was saying at the beginning of the video. It's like dealing with family members. I'm sorry, I went on a really deep tangent here. What the fuck? Sorry about this, guys. Um, yeah, it really makes you feel like, specifically once you find out your family's in on it, it really makes you feel like, what dimension did I wake up in? This is not the world I live in. Things like that don't happen. But if you were to read uh, a, a former Black Panther's book, you would see that, yeah, you're not that special. This has been happening. It's just that now it's happening to common folk. Um, I truly appreciate your honesty. Thank you. I appreciate you. How was your V-Day with the lady? You are blessed, brother. It was great. I spent time with my wife yesterday. We went for a walk. She cooked twice. She spoiled me. And today we went for a walk as well. I took some pictures. It was sunny outside. Took some pictures of our dog, and she likes the pictures. And tonight we're gonna watch A Night of the Seven Kingdoms together. I think I'm gonna order some food, probably like whatever she wants. We're gonna get her whatever she wants tonight. Eh? She wants me to cook. She wants me to cook in an apron. She's like, I want you to cook in an apron for me. I'm like, yeah, you're getting Uber, Uber Eats. Um, I love my wife. She's great. She's amazing. And I'm about to leave you guys to go spend some time with her in a hot minute. Uh, are you guys tired of hearing how much I love my wife? I feel like Chance the Rapper, constantly talking about how much I love my wife. I do love her though. She's the greatest person I've ever known. I hope you guys' V-Day is good. Hopefully some of you are blessed to have someone. If you're not, then be blessed to not have a snake in your home. I did 13 years with a snake. I tell you that much. Being alone would have been better. So if you don't have someone, don't feel too bad. At least you don't have a snake in your home. Sleeping with demons is much worse, far worse. Hit the like button, y'all. Thank you, Faith Over Fear. Hit the like button. It does help the algorithm. I've been shadow banned. My views are way down. I was kind of expecting it though, because everybody kept telling me, "Oh, you're a fake TI. Real TIs don't get as many views as you do," and I'm just like, I don't know why I'm getting all these views. It's as weird as it is to you. It's weird to me as well. But I've been shadow banned. My numbers are way down, way down. You know, I used to get like 5, 10,000 views per video. Now I'm lucky if I break 1,000. But it is what it is. I'm not stopping. I'm not doing this for views. I'm technically doing this for views. I want the message to get out there. But I'm doing this to help the people who are going through this. I'm doing this to raise awareness. I'm doing this to expose the program. I'm doing this to weaken it. I'm doing what God is telling me to do. I don't want to find out what happens to you if God gives you a task and you don't do it. And anyways, it's the right thing to do. And I know it's the right thing to do. And because I know it's the right thing to do, I can't not do it. Though I don't want to do this shit. I don't want to put my life in danger more than it already is, um, by speaking on, you know, secret state police's torture tactics. It's so funny, a lot of people are just like, what are you talking about? The FBI would never do this. They're the good, they're the good guys. And then you look at like other state police, like the CIA and what they've done before, the FBI, what they've done before, ICE, what they're doing now. You look at DHS's Twitter account. It's just like a bunch of like white supremacist stuff, and it's just like, I think you're unaware of what the secret police is, what the history of secret police actually is. On a world scale, secret police have never been good people. They've always been a blight on society. Abolish secret police. Anyways, my family turned on me. Everyone did. It's crazy. Everyone? Sometimes I was talking to my wife about this. I was saying, like, a lot of people say everyone in my family turned on me. And what I told her is, people say that because when members of your family, some members of your family turn on you, it feels like everyone turned on you. But did everyone turn on you? Or are there exceptions? Or is it everybody that turned on you? Gracie. I know I have stalkers in my family too, stepbrother especially. Yeah, I got stalkers in my family. About as close as yours. Closer. Uh it's crazy. It's like something other than themselves or God is controlling them. Twilight Zone. Yeah, it feels like the Twilight Zone. You're like, how could my family? We share DNA. We share memories. We share a grandmother. Why are you trying to destroy my life, brother? We share a grandmother. Fuck wrong with you? Get a hold of yourself, you know? But like I said, um, a lot of times, well, not a lot of times. Basically, the way it works is they feel betrayed by you. So gaslighting you is just like a small thing. And whatever small cut they're making in the death by a thousand cuts um, program being run on you, they only see the one cut they're making and they don't understand what they're participating in. Not fully. They just feel betrayed by you because they heard you gossiping about them, or they heard you say this racist thing about them. They heard you say this sexist or this homophobic thing about them, or transphobic thing about them. You know, this horrible thing about, something they did. You know, like I have a cousin who did something really dumb. I'm just gonna say it that way. She did something really dumb, and I made fun of her for it. I gossiped about her as well. And she's mad, and she has a right to be mad because what I said was mean spirited. It was bad. It was really hurtful. Doesn't earn me gang stalking. It shouldn't earn me gang stalking, but I can understand her being mad at me and never wanting to speak to me again. It doesn't justify her pretending to be my friend and like abusing me, pretending like we're all good while also abusing me. It doesn't justify it, but you know what I did was really wrong. I'm very ashamed of what I did, and I ain't gonna do that shit again. I'm not gonna do that shit again because, not because it led to her gang stalking me, but just the feeling of knowing that um, it got to her and it hurt her. That really like that didn't feel good. I was like, oh fuck, I shouldn't have said that shit. But then again, I think to myself, well, she only knows because you know I'm being spied on. You know, but nonetheless, it doesn't change the fact that I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have done that. That's not okay. I mean, everybody does that, but it doesn't mean it's okay. It's like a really important lesson that I've learned. Let's just like, don't say things about other people that you wouldn't be okay with them um with with it being reported to them or shown to them. Um it's just not it's not good. It's not good for your soul. It's not good. And we want to be good, don't we? So, and for a long time, I would accept a lot of the tactics that she was using against me because I just felt like, hey, yeah, I deserve that. I earned that shit. Okay, all right. And I just felt like, well, maybe after a while she'll stop. You know, she won't be so mad at me anymore because I'm like being a good sport about it because I kind of earned it. But then I came to realize like, no, 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 no. No, I don't deserve that. I mean, if you never want to speak to me, that's one thing. But what you're doing is absolutely ridiculous. So I'm not taking that shit anymore. Anyways, sorry about the tangent. You always say you deserve grace. Why you don't do that for yourself, brother? Fuck them people that did you wrong. Um, well, make no mistakes. I forgive myself fully for everything I've done wrong. The awful things, the not so bad things, the really fucked up shit I should have never done. I forgive myself for everything, every mistake, every sin I've ever committed. I forgive myself for all future sins, for all present sins, for all past sins. I'm blessed by God. He gives me grace, He gives me mercy, and I accept it. Um, Nonetheless, I still hold myself accountable to the things I've done, the things I've said. I hold myself accountable. I don't let anyone judge me but God, but I do hold myself accountable. because that's how we become better people. And I want to be a better person. So I'm not, in this spiral of shame of, putting myself down for making mistakes as if, I wasn't human. Well, I'm not doing that anymore. Let's just put it that way. Because I was definitely doing that, but I'm not doing that anymore. Um, so yeah, I don't want you to think that, and at the same time, on the other hand as well, I also give grace to other people. And I go back and forth. Sometimes, some days I'll wake up and I'll just be, I'll say a prayer. I'll thank God for all my blessings and, all the things that, I do have in my life or I still have in my life that has not been taken away from me yet. I'll say a prayer and thank God, and then I'll pray to God to give grace and mercy to the people who participate in my gang stalking and to guide them back into his light. And some days I'm wake up and I'm like, man, fuck you, y'all niggas can eat, uh, yeah, you know what I mean? So, but the former is a better option, you know. I'm a human being. I'm a human. At the end of the day, I'm a human being. You know. Mm. But yeah, I don't hold resentment anymore for them. You know. Mostly I feel sorry for anyone who's participating in my gang stalking. I feel sorry for them. Um, I just look at them like, oh, you've been fooled into sinning. You've been fooled into dirtying your soul. You're gonna have to atone for that. I wouldn't want to be you. As bad as you guys are making it for me, it's better here. It's better on this side. Perhaps you should join. Or don't, It is what it is. Yes, Gracie, it is a blessing. Hardships are a blessing. They make you better. They make you a better person. Positive mindset, this is what pulls us through. 100%. 100%. I feel like my hardships purify me because I choose to allow them to purify me, you know? I could choose to let them make me bitter, but I don't want that. I don't want to be a bitter person. I want to be a better person. So that was clever. Sorry. But yeah, I choose to see it that way. What doesn't kill you truly does make you stronger. I wish my dad and uncle was here. This might be over for me quickly. What do you mean? Like they would avenge you? You got a father and uncle who are about that life. I have lost all of that softness. Cosmic Queen. Yeah, it's tragic. I personally feel like I really feel like women should never have to go through shit like this. Is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. I'm sorry. I don't wanna speak too much my mind too much on, you know, how I feel about this in particular, but yeah, this is ridiculous. Women should not have to go through psychological warfare. What are we doing? What are we doing? Who is sitting behind it? Which one of you low life pieces of filth, human garbage, is sitting behind a desk torturing women, mothers? Have you lost your mind? Yeah, I'm sorry. If I go too deep into it, I'll really get mad. Like some Truman Show shit. Yeah. Yesterday I crashed out after AJ live, and the person I won't say their name got in a whole car accident. Unfortunately, I helped them. Am I wrong? No, you have a conscience. We're humans, eh? We're just humans. Why are you white? Why are you blind? You're really helping me. I'm sure others feel the same. No apology needed. Well, thank you, Arcanum. I appreciate that. I'm 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 honored. Honestly, I'm honored to help you guys. Um, you know, um, I don't know why. I really feel like this is what God wants me to do. This is the mission that God has for me, and to help people. I mean, I don't want to like compare myself to like any historic figures, but I kind of look at like the story of Moses leading the Israelites, you know, splitting the Red Sea, things of that nature. It's just like I don't. I'm not saying I'm Moses here. All right, hold on now. Let me explain. Let me explain. I'm just saying I understand why people who do things like that do it. I understand why Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. I understand why these men couldn't sleep at night until their missions were done. I get it. I love people. It's my mission. It's my job to help. I can. Therefore, I have to. I get it. So I'm truly honored that I'm honored to be of help to humankind. Nancy Wilson, I'm watching your live stream tonight from Dallas. Hey, let's exchange weather. Give me your weather, I'll give you mine. It's cold. I feel like the gang stalker want us to unalive ourselves so they can cash in a life insurance policy on us or steal something we inherited that was hidden from us. Well, for a lot of gang stalkers, we're actually cash cows, so they don't want us to end our lives because they get paid to torture us and follow us and do things, to us or to our belongings. So for the most part, they don't want us to actually end our lives. What they would like is for us to commit violence on others. They would love that so that we can end up in prison. They would really love that. That's really the goal. Yeah. I mean, the goal of the gang stalkers participating in your gang stalking is not to end your life. The goal of your handler is to end your life. 100%. So, different people, different goals. It's sweet. An apron and nothing else. You love that. You love your wife. An apron and nothing else. That's exactly what she said. I'm sorry, baby. It's refreshing to hear, honestly. I'm happy to hear. Thank you. It's a beautiful thing. Talk about your lady love. I love my wife so much. I love hearing about your love for your wife. Thank you. She's the best. She's great. Um, I might make a dating app for victims of gang stalking. Call it TI Ender. That's a nice play on words. It's free, but you can pay for gold option if you want built-in honeypot blocker. That's pretty clever. Unfortunately, they would infiltrate it, but it is pretty clever. Please forget any of my typos to write as fast as I can. A marriage is a beautiful thing. It is a gift from God. God is the creator of the family unit. Amen. Amen. You're a great speaker. Not surprised they shadow banned you. Thank you. And one of the reasons why I also feel that it is my duty to do what I'm doing is because I've always been told I was a great speaker. Um, since I was a young kid, you know how the teachers would have well, like we would read a book in class, and the teachers would have like each person read a paragraph or something like that. And I every single grade I've been to since like the first grade, every time I would read, I would always be told by a teacher, you have a great, you're a great speaker. You have a great speaking voice, and like teachers would tell me like, I think you're gonna be a news anchor one day, things like that, right? And I didn't get it. I didn't understand it, and I still don't. I don't think I speak any differently than anybody else, but I've heard it so often. It's sort of like my teeth. People look at my teeth and they're like, "Wow, you have really nice teeth," and I'm like, when I look at my teeth, I don't see nice teeth. I see yellow teeth, which is why I brush them so hard, you know. But it's the same concept, I don't see, like, I personally think I have a speech impediment, like I stutter sometimes, and but people have always made comments about how I speak and how well I speak and how well I write as well, but I don't see it. But I honestly think that this is the reason why. I mean, I don't want to say I was chosen, um, but I feel like it's my duty to speak on our issue because most people who are going through this are very emotional and hurt. Their emotionality hurts our credibility, and our experience surely needs credibility because it is incredible. So I do feel that with, if God gives you gifts, you must use them for good. Sounds corny, right? That's what I believe. So thank you for the compliment. Is what I'm saying. Thank you, Jared, for the compliment. I have pet snakes, but I finally got the metaphorical snakes out. There you go. Snakes are awesome. I used to own reptiles. Yeah, snakes are cool. You often think this is the Matrix. Yeah, it is the Matrix. I put out a great song about victory over this and hardly no views. I generally get good views with being so new. Yeah, we get shadow banned. We get shadow banned. It's sad. Thank you, Annette. Thank you guys for being here. You might end up like Jonah if you run from this calling. Yeah, I don't want to end up like Jonah. All right. I'm good. I'm on it, God. I'm doing God's work. I second that, Beyond. Thank you so much for doing what you're doing. You're doing God's work. Thank you. Thank you. They're not good. It's only myself and my two sons now. You're lucky to be married. They messed up relationships. Yeah, I am lucky to be married. They've never messed up my relationships though. When I break up with women, they will sometimes um, recruit them. That has happened. That's crazy. I'm going to check on your page and subscribe. And yes, thank you. Keep doing. Oh, sorry, you're not talking to me. Why would they feel betrayed by the family target? Well, Tarai, if you weren't here earlier, the reason why is because, like I said, they spy on you, illegally surveil you, but they also, at the same time, create this straw that broke the camel's back scenario where they keep provoking you, goading you. So they're spying on you and they're learning what makes you tick, what irritates you, how to make you react. And they create a situation where eventually you react, you lash out on your spouse, your children, your uh I don't know, your neighbor, your brother, your parents, whatever. And once they have that, they're able to get people to believe that you are unstable, you're a danger to society. But when it comes to your family, usually it's through gossip. You gossip about your family members. Like, for example, let's say you have a gay cousin and you're homophobic, which, it happens. No one's, some people are homophobic, some people are racist, some people are sexist, some people are, you know, xenophobes, whatever, right? It's a human. You're a human. But say you're homophobic and you say something homophobic, or you make fun of your cousin who is a man, but he's effeminate and gay. And you're like, you're making fun of him, right? And it gets reported to him. Now he feels betrayed by you. He's like, how could you say something like that about me? We're family, you know? And he's mad. And now this law enforcement officer who showed him that footage is telling him about other things you did and other things you said, and really destroying your image, just destroying, your character. And your cousin who feels betrayed is like, I can't believe it. And now this law enforcement officer is telling him like, hey, if you just say this sentence to him or her, we'll give you this amount of money. And your cousin is like, I have no reason not to. Money to say something to this person who betrayed me, who talks about me behind my back and then smiles in my face. How dare you? So when they do that, when they do directed conversation with you, or they're just mean to you, you're confused. You're like, how could you betray me and join them? But they feel betrayed by you, and they feel like you're a hypocrite to feel betrayed by them. How dare you? You talked about me first, you know? And I've gone through that. Like I said, I've had someone send me a conversation where someone who had done business with me um, was talking about me. And they didn't say anything awful about me, really. They just said something negative about me. And I was just like, that's how you feel? Screw you. I don't need your business. And I blocked them, not thinking to myself that I've said worse things about this person behind their backs, you know? Way worse things. But I wasn't thinking about that at the time. I was just like, why would you say that about me? And the things I said about that person, I didn't tell them to like a stranger. I told my ex-girlfriend, my girlfriend at the time, who's now my ex-girlfriend. Um, but that wasn't reported to them, so they don't react to it. But when what they said about me was reported to me, I felt betrayed. I was like, why would you say that about me? I, you know, you needed me. I was there for you. You needed me to like help your business, and I was there for you. I could have said no. What's wrong with you? So I blocked them. But I've said worse things about them than they've said about me. You see? That's how it works. uh, what is shadow and how does it work? Shadow banned. Sorry, it's shadow banned, meaning that you are restricted. Um you're no longer being shown on like the for you pages or the recommendations. Um, some of your subscribers are not getting your videos in their subscription list. Sorry, English is my third language. Um, Shadow banned. So you're kind of banned, not really, and they don't tell you about it. They don't tell you that you're shadow banned. You don't get as much exposure anymore. Nothing justifies gang stalking. I know that's right. Yeah, we've all made major mistakes, all of us. Some of us have I've done some things that like are really like terrible, you know, while I was being gang stalked and I was unaware that I was being gang stalked. I was going through a lot of frustration in my life, and you know, I've done things that are horrible. I've said things that are horrible, that are completely out of character, and people are now judging me for it, you know. I forgive myself for all past sins, present sins, future sins, and perhaps they'll never forgive me. Not my business. Not my business. You shouldn't have known about these sins in the first place. They happen in the privacy of my home. You can judge me if you want. I will never take your judgment into account. It matters not to me. Because if I was privy to everything you've ever said and done in your home, if I was privy to every sin you've ever committed in your home, you're probably worse than me. Or you're probably just as bad as me. But you're not looking at that. because we don't have to look at that, and we don't have that in front of us. What we have in front of us is my sins. So your judgment doesn't matter. Sorry. At least you know I'm honestly confused in my particular situation. I think someone got the wrong target. I mean, it's possible. It's highly unlikely. I don't understand this cowardice. Anytime I've heard a rumor or straight up BS from someone, I will always directly ask the person what's up. Well, you've never been contacted by an FBI agent to tell you about, hey, your neighbor is a dangerous person. You know, if an FBI agent comes to you and tells you, hey, your neighbor is on, is it Megan's list or Megan's Law's list? The you know, Schmeck's offenders list. Would you go to them and ask them, hey, are you on a Schmeck's offenders list? No, you would be like, oh my God, we got to get this guy out of the neighborhood. Think of it that way. Gang stalking has always been around, looking in the Bible that David, who was gang stalked by Saul. Yeah. If you guys want to read um, inspiring and helpful stuff, Psalms are pretty much the story of David. They help a lot. They help a lot. If you can't cop to what you said, you're too scary for me to hang out with. I can respect you and not want to hang out with you or like you, but if you're afraid to say to my face, I lose respect. Yeah. Glad you stood up for yourself. I will never allow them to shame me into the ground again. Never. Never. I am a human. I mess up like everybody else. And this is why I constantly say at the end of my videos, you deserve grace, you deserve mercy, is because these tactics are meant to make you think you are the scum of the earth. And that's Satan projecting on you what he thinks of himself. They want to shame you into believing that you are the lowest form of scum so that you'll accept the abuse that they have for you so that they can forget about themselves being human and being lowly sometimes as well. But never again will I ever allow um, them to influence how I feel about myself. I'm a good person. I've done some fucked up things in my life, yeah, but I'm a good person, a very good person, a much better person than most of the people that participate in my gang stalking. Not all of them. Some of them are, better people than me, and they've been fooled. But I'm a good person. Your opinion of me matters not, especially considering how you've developed that opinion of me because you got information about me from people that are spying on me illegally. That makes you a piece of shit, not me, right? uh, yep. Um, I'm glad David had the creator God on his side. He made it out. And so do we. Somebody say amen. Remember, those that are judging us will be judged the same way. God is merciful God. Indeed, God is a merciful God. You deserve grace. You deserve mercy. I don't say things behind people's back that I wouldn't say to their face. I'm sure you're the same way. Just gotta ask. Yeah, I'm not the same way. I've said stuff about people that I wouldn't say in their face. Sometimes it's not necessarily like mean things or like really like horrible things. It's just I wouldn't know how to say it to your face, you know? Like it would make me uncomfortable to hurt your feelings. Um or to make you uncomfortable or to make you feel singled out. But I'm working on that. I'm not doing that anymore. Or I'm doing that as little as possible nowadays. I don't gossip. I try not to gossip, and it makes me feel dirty to gossip on people. It's it's never good. Like in the moment, you feel like, oh, we're like bonding over putting someone else down, and then right after you're just like, that was not cool. I wish I didn't say that. I really wish I didn't say that. You know, it's sort of like a behavior I've seen other people do, and I kind of learned, like, I kind of picked it up, but I don't like the way it makes me feel. Never did. Don't feel sorry for gang stalkers, just a bunch of criminals, dumb criminals. I feel sorry for dumb people, and I feel sorry for criminals. Why shouldn't I feel sorry for dumb criminals? You know, and just because you feel sorry for somebody doesn't mean you have to do anything about it, you know. But I do feel sorry for them because they're going to hell. Praise God, we all sin it, but are saved by the blood of the Lamb. Yes, I pray for the gang stalkers. I don't resent them anymore. You know, don't get me wrong. Today I don't resent them. I might tomorrow. You know, you catch me on a bad day, something really fucked up happens to me related to gang stalking, and I'm just like, man, fuck you, you know. But then I go home and pray and I ask God, please give me the strength to forgive those who offend us the way you forgive us for our offenses. Amen. I feel so much sorrow for humanity. I see a whole lot of spiritually sick people. Yep. It's a hurtful thing to be constantly followed day by day and harassed like this. And no matter how hard you try to get used to it, but it is hard. It is. It is. Better not bitter. Amen. Amen. Man, I'm far. I'm super far in the comments. I am sorry about that, guys. I do have to go soon. I understand this is the truth for a lot of people, but if someone told me someone was an offender, I stay away. I don't go up to them and start shit. Well, Cosmic Queen, I have to be honest with you. I would do the same thing. Uh, I would stay away from them. I wouldn't talk shit about like to them, or I wouldn't, try to mess up their lives or, cooperate with like federal agents to like participate in their death by a thousand cuts. However, that's just me, and I'm sure you know, a lot of the people around us have been contacted to join in and have refused, but because they signed an NDA and because they don't understand the extent of what you're being put through, sorry, they they're not coming to you. They're just remaining quiet or staying away from you, and you don't even know. Um, but some people, you know, some people have evil in them. Some people are looking to hurt others. Some people look forward to that shit. Or some people, are in trouble with the law and they're just like, I can't go to jail, man. I'm gonna have to throw you under the bus. I'm sorry. And you're like, well, I'm just doing this small thing to you. It's not the end of the world, and it's keeping me out of jail. It's a good deal. They don't understand that, oh, I'm participating in your death by a thousand cuts. And some people are just like, I gotta feed my family. I can't get a job. Um, my finances are messed up. I gotta do what I gotta do. And they participate. And some people are just like, you said this shit about me, or you did this and I don't forgive, and you know, they go after you. Let's just be thankful to God that He made us the former and not the latter. We are people who do not take pleasure in causing pain to others, even when they are sinners. That's a blessing in itself. To have that kind of peace within us, that's a blessing in itself, is it not? Someone say amen. I love Proverbs too. Biblical scriptures. I love Proverbs too. I've dealt with the feds myself. No fun. Not fun times. No. Probably not. Can we call YouTube? Are you gonna get on YouTube's ass for me? Purple hair types. That's funny. Uh, the wrath. I don't get where the quote is from. YouTube turns my replies to my mailbox every few days, and I noticed. I heard it before. You are one of the chosen, brother. Well, thank you for the blessing, God. I'm sure that can happen. I wish more of us did what I was doing. And I wish some of us who are doing it would stop because they're really hurting our credibility. But then again, I feel like if all of us spoke up, it would be less deniable. Let's just put it that way. But I understand why a lot of us don't want to speak up. The reason why I want you to know the reason why I spoke up so quickly after I found out that I was being gang stalked. It only took me um maybe a year and a half, maybe a year to start making videos about what was going on. Probably less than a year. Is because I was already making videos about narcissism, about narcissistic abuse, and that took me 4 years, 5 years maybe before I started making videos on narcissistic abuse. Just because I felt like, oh, I think my ex is gonna see these videos and she's gonna know I'm talking about her, as if I like should have given a shit about that. I really shouldn't have. It's like, oh, if you don't want me to talk about, the shitty things you did to me, perhaps you shouldn't have done the shitty things you did to me. But I just decided, well, I'm never gonna say her name. You know, no one knows who I'm talking about. So I understand why a lot of you don't want to speak up, show your faces, and things of that nature. Um, I got you. I got you. I got your back. I'm doing it for y'all. I thought the corrupt cop was talking with his friends. Recently found out it was larger. Stand firm. It get easier if we understand their tactics. Yeah, things get easier once you understand their tactics. And that's why I explain them constantly, over and over. It's just like the crazy making behavior has to be counteracted. What does that mean, please? They signed an NDA to be around the target. What does that mean? Well, an NDA is a non the I'm sorry. I can't remember the word. Non-disclosure agreement. Non-disclosure agreement. So it just means like whatever we talk about here, you can't talk about it to anybody. So the feds will make you sign NDAs before they talk to you. So let's say like, oh, they'll say, oh, we have some really horrible information about a neighbor of yours, and some information that would like give you the shivers. That would give you like that would you know send a shiver down your spine. I mean, horrible stuff. And you go, really? Who is it? And they go, this is some really horrible stuff, that we're privy to, and we want to share it with you, but before we do, we need you to sign this NDA. And then, unless you sign it, they don't talk to you. If you refuse to sign it, they just go, well, have a good day, and they leave, and you never find out about it. And perhaps you end up on their list, who knows? But once you sign it, if you say anything, you're in deep doo-doo. That's how that works. Well, guys, I do have to go. I've been here for 2 hours. Thank you for being here, guys. Thank you for clicking the like button. Thank you for supporting my page. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you um, for the kind words. Thank you for praying with me. Walaikum salam, Gracie. Um, Thank you for being you. Right? You deserve grace. You deserve God's grace. You deserve God's mercy. Love yourself first always, and never allow these people to change your view on yourself. They don't get a say. Namaste. Have a good one, guys.